call yourself a fire department.
Yeah.
And you use Bell Canyon's name, then the liability falls on us.
So I don't understand. You've asked a lot of times, everyone's concerned in the canyon. What's the next step? How do they just,
You know, at some point, it leaves us
Stonewall
no
you.
point, and we're just gonna have to do what needs to be done to protect the association.
when will that be?
You know, and we're talking, we're trying to figure it out.
We're trying to work it out.
We're trying to
I know,
work it
Kevin.
out, so. we're
I
trying to
just
work
think
it-
after a while, when you keep asking and asking and asking and asking, because you said over and over and over, you just say, stop, and let's move on to what we have to do.
I don't disagree with you. We're just gonna have to bite
Okay,
the bullet and do
All
what
right.
we need to do.
okay, well, thank you
Good.
all for the work you do.
Thank you,
Very
Jeff.
much.
Thank you.
And anyone else?
Anybody on Zoom?
We got a couple more speakers.
This hit very close to home. It was two houses, Lynn Knutson hit very close to home. Two houses up recently. And after doing a lot of research, I think a lot of people don't understand that only 4% of 911 calls are related to fire. The other 90, and this was confirmed by the fire chief. I spoke with him personally. 96% of phone calls made to 911 are medical or other issues. As a parent of a child who's home, and what happened 2 doors up caused chaos with people running around with uniforms on. No one knew who was what. Then the homeowners didn't even know who was what. And I bring this up to all parents in the canyon because children are taught firemen are safe. Are these firemen background checked? Are they live scanned? I know in order to be a baseball coach or a football coach, you have to be. If a fireman comes up and a child calls 911 and their friend is in need, and then the fireman is at the door saying, I can't come in, which happened recently, 2 doors up. Then all of a sudden the real fire department comes. How are these kids supposed to determine who's the real fire department and who's not the real fire department? And there's a lot of kids in this community that it would terrify. It really would. And I think that that needs to be on the forefront of all the parents in this community, because 96% of all calls that go to 911 are medical calls. And I don't believe, and I could be wrong, I don't believe they're EMTs or under the Good Samaritan law allowed to CPR, you know, anything, or trachea if somebody's choking. But I think it really needs to be looked at.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Lynn. Thank you.
For you, was, Maria?
I want to say, people on Zoom saying the microphone sounds is horrible. Can you do something about it?
I just showed it to them and he's.
All of us or just some of us?
I think it's this one.
Oh, the one over there?
Can I get up and speak again?
My name is Maria Carpenter. I live at 93 Bell Canyon, and I have lived here for 52 years. I guess I'm just going to repeat what Jonathan and Mrs. Knudsen said. There's a lot of great guys that are on the fire department. I don't understand why, I mean, I guess I do, but if they have a choice of being a true volunteer fire department fireman or nothing, are they going to pick nothing? Because we can't have the liability of a Bell Canyon volunteer fire department. I think there's 18,000 volunteer fire departments in this country, and they're not tax-free corporations and along that same thing, apparently we have other tax-free corporations in the canyon. Someone told me 12 that use the name Bell Canyon, whatever. none of them have the potential liability that the fire department has. But still, I think, and certainly with this recall election coming up, people need to really understand that we're not anti-volunteer firemen. But to take on a corporation, whether it's, as someone pointed out, what kind of funds or grants are they receiving and what are they doing with it? I mean, that's neither here nor there, but it does put us all in jeopardy. And I think people really need to understand that this is not about one group of people and another and who has the power. This is about our safety and the liability. So I hope, we can convince people that we're not anti-firemen or volunteers.
Yeah,
Maria.
Maria, thank you. I think volunteers on the face of it are great. And like you said, if a volunteer wants to be volunteer, they can be volunteers. But they don't need, you can be volunteers without causing liability to the rest of us. Okay, and that's what we try to relay to everybody in the canyon. I don't know why the name is so important to them unless it has other issues besides just being volunteer. And I have to tell people in the canyon, because a lot of people don't know what you just mentioned, that we just had a fire in a member's house on one of our, and there was huge confusion. These volunteers showed up, and the owner says the fire is upstairs, and they say to him, well, we can't go in. He says, what do you mean you can't go in? He thought it was the real fire department. So it caused them confusion on knowing who to talk to and what to show them. And he says, well, what are you doing here if you're not going to go in my house until the real fire department came? So it sets confusion, it sets liability, and all of us want volunteers. We all volunteer. There's 9 of us here to try to do the best for the canyon. We volunteer. We don't get paid. We don't raise any money. We do it for the good of the canyon, and we live here. And I think if you're going to volunteer, be a volunteer, but don't have alternative motives for volunteering and use it for alternative issues. And I agree with all of you. It's an issue for all of us. And it's something that we all need to educate people in the canyon. As they can do the same work as they're doing by not having Val Canyon's name, not having a corporation, and go out, nobody's gonna tell them, or it doesn't cause us any liability if somebody's house is go on fire. A volunteer is protected. He can put the fire out. These people can't do it. If you act as a real volunteer, then you can put a hose in somebody's house. Okay, but once you're an entity, you can't do it. But me as a volunteer, God forbid my neighbor's house is on fire, I can go put a hose in it and nobody's gonna hold me liable. Okay, it's a good Samaritan thing. But now that you're an entity, and they themselves said they can't do it. So what's the issue? We want to talk to them to clear up the issue and have them work as volunteers and real volunteers without the liability to everybody. But thank you. And we all need to talk to our neighbors and explain this to them.